everybody. So if you were on social media, particularly Twitter, you would have seen this, and probably on Facebook too. It's been around the place, and so rightly so. Because you probably remember this face, you remember this fellow too. He robbed the taxpayer blind, and he basically got off scot-free too. And pretty much, long story short, before I go any further, how much was he paid to go to the Irish Embassy for this effect? We all know how much it cost. You can see it's cost nearly 3,000 for drinks and stuff for these clowns to be having their book. The former Minister for Housing, for example, we paid 3,000. The Irish taxpayer had to pay it, isn't it great? For an even nudge for all rich people, the rich diplomats, etc., and hundreds of thousands a year. And then, we want to know, I would love to know, because the Irish Embassy in London hasn't said anything, or the mainstream media, I think the journal.ie be asking, how much did Ryan Tubridy get paid to go to it? Because obviously he didn't go off his free will. He's getting a good few thousand probably to be there. Because let's be fair, he doesn't do anything for nothing. So that needs to be asked. Nobody's asked that question. I just think it's a reasonable question. How much was he paid? Because this is how much the drinks and stuff cost. So how much was he paid to attend? That's what we need to ask, because I do think he was paid. But yeah, obviously this is the former Minister for Housing. He was no addition to anybody, to be totally honest. He wrote a book, the same as many queer politicians now. They write a book saying, how hard politics was, and all this. I know people are very upset with me. I don't know why people are upset with me. I done loads of good and stuff like that. And I have hundreds of billions in the bank and stuff like that. I never have to worry again. I have big pension, etc., etc. And he's wondered why people are upset with him. Long story short. But as you can see here, you and I, the Irish taxpayer, isn't it great? We're paying for the kid for this effect, even though it has no relevance whatsoever. I wouldn't mind if it was a book, say, about English-Irish relations. If it was an author, and only Joe from Ireland or England, and it was to do with something to do with Ireland and England, the history between Ireland and England, take for example, because it is the Embassy of London. That's the only effect should be going on in the embassy, not something that's relating to a politician. Like, this is no relation to anything. One for Office is the name of his book. There's no relation to anything. It's no benefit to either Ireland or England. It's his own personal business. If he wants to write a book, his own personal business. I don't think the Irish Embassy in London particularly, because again, really pretty much the Department of Foreign Affairs, in essence, because again, this was held in the embassy of the Irish Embassy in London, that they basically are given the saying endorsing this book, which obviously shouldn't be, because the embassy's there to diplomatic relations, helping Irish citizens, take for example in London, who've lost their passport and can't get home, etc., etc. That's what the diplomatic corps is over there for. That's why there's embassies, etc., etc. They're not there for show and tells and all that. That's what it shouldn't be about, because there's nothing to do with Ireland, there's nothing to do with England. It's his own book about his own time in politics. It's nothing to do, and this Cretan shouldn't have been there too. But yeah, so yeah, isn't it great? Nobody asked, but we had to pay it. You think they would have had to fork it out of his own money, but nothing ever changes in this country. That's it. But again, this is the thing. He was invited with the ambassador to the United Kingdom. But this is the thing. Was Ryan Tubridy paid? You think they would have asked, was he getting paid? Because I presume he got paid maybe a few thousand anyway to turn up, because I hardly doubt he turned up for nothing. Let's be fair, none of these people do anything for nothing. They wouldn't do a day. They wouldn't walk down the street unless they were getting paid to do it. Pretty much what I'm trying to say. Because the only thing that matters to these people here, politicians, majority politicians, NGOs, etc., etc., is money. That's the only thing. They don't think about anything else but money. Money's the beginning and end for them. Pretty much, they do nothing for anybody unless there's money involved in it. Now, just talking about this, because really this video is to do with the waste of money. But that's a question I think that needs to be asked by Ryan Tubridy, because nobody's asked it. People think that he done it of his own goodwill. I don't think so. I don't believe it. If we look back at the past of when he was an OT, he didn't work for nothing for OT. So hardly that he's going to work for nothing now. And then this is to do with OT. Speaking of OT, actually, comically, as you can see, Cash Strap OTE spends 1.7 million on giving tax-free vouchers to up to €1,000 each next year for those staff. And this is the thing. OT would tell you, we have no money. We can't afford to operate. We need money. We need a big bailout from the government. And so they did. They got a big bailout. And they would say to you, we're so hard up. We have no money. We can't do this. We can't do that. But at the end of the day, they can fork off this amount of money to staff, etc. So don't get me wrong. They're probably only Joe that's doing the cameras or whatever. Somebody that's just the only Joe, the janitor. He's probably doing a good job. He's doing his best. But this is the kind of thing that happened before. That's what I'm trying to say. That sandals were bought, hotel rooms, etc., etc. Like, we know all the drill about it. So basically, what I'm trying to say, you couldn't trust them as far as you could throw them. But yeah, this shouldn't happen in OT, to be totally honest. As simple as that. Particularly because, again, you've seen before, it's just basically nothing that's been loaned from what happened before with 18. It's just basically the same old. And we're paying for it. That's the funniest thing. We're paying for it, and we have to flip the bill for it. Isn't it lovely? I wouldn't mind if they took it out of their own pockets, the executives, but not a thing like that. Like the ambassador to London should be saying, you know what, I take it out of my own pocket, my own weekly wage to pay off this, because the average taxpayer shouldn't have to pay it. Or take myself, Murphy here should say, I pay it myself. No, the average taxpayer shouldn't have to flip the bill. But even, you think that we're all say combined, we throw in a bit of money to the Irish taxpayer, and see, they had no care whatsoever. They just in la la land. They're so detached. Thinking the high and mighty, nobody can ask any questions of them. That's pretty much what's happening in this country. So yeah, just wanted to say, it's still the money's been wasted. This money's been just pulled down the drain. And you wonder why people can't afford a house. You wonder why people can't afford. There's not good public transport in rural Ireland. You wonder why there's no Gardaí. There's wonder why there's no. The Irish Navy ships are in port the majority of the time because there's no money to pay for anybody. This is where the money's going to, because I simply tell you straight, I would love to know how much he probably got 100,000 maybe, and that's just hypothetical, because nobody's ever asked this question, how much did he get paid, because obviously he didn't do nothing. But we all know how much. It was nearly 3,000. That's what they tell us. Who knows if it's in reality? Because they're not going to come out and say, it was 17,000 or something like that. Because let's be fair, like a bicycle shed costs 350,000, and you could get a bicycle shed, a good decent bicycle shed for 20,000, and they managed to spend nearly €750,000 on a bicycle shed with only about one bike in it every week. It's a joke. When you see that, you're like, there's something else behind all this. But it's just to have too much money, they don't know what to do with it. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.